This is Leonardo da Vinci. He was the embodiment of a Renaissance man. Da Vinci was a skilled painter, inventor, and scientist. The majority of people know Da Vinci for his work as a painter, giving us masterpieces such as The Last Supper and Mona Lisa. However, not many people know about Da Vinci's personal life and upbringing, as well as what it would take to also be a creative genius like Da Vinci. So, in this video, we'll analyze Leonardo da Vinci's life, discuss the nature of creativity, and break down the biggest obstacle aspiring creatives will face on their road to mastering their craft. Let's begin. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452 in Italy. His parents split up when he was young, and he had 12 other siblings growing up. As a young boy, Leonardo's father noticed that his son had a natural inclination and talent for art. So, he signed him up to join an art studio in Florence, Italy, called the Florence Guild of Artists. During his time in this artist guild, Leonardo became an apprentice and gained experience working on marble statues, paintings, and even engineering design. After a few years working in the studio, Da Vinci got his first big taste of recognition when he painted a mural for the local Catholic church, the Baptism of Christ. Throughout the rest of his life, Da Vinci meticulously studied human anatomy, engineering, and of course, art. His highly publicized notebooks, which were published after his death, showed his attention to detail in these subjects, as well as his passion and aspirations of designing weaponry for the constant wars in Europe. Unfortunately, for most of his life, his weapon designs were ignored, since people appeared to just be interested in commissioning him for his artistic talents. In the later years of his life, Leonardo da Vinci painted arguably the most popular art piece in history, the Mona Lisa. No one knows for sure who the Mona Lisa is based on, but what we do know is that Da Vinci loved this painting, often carrying it along with him when he traveled. Leonardo da Vinci lived out the rest of his years in France and passed away in 1519 of a stroke. Da Vinci came from humble beginnings. He grew up without both parents in his life, found a love for art, and lived his life always experimenting and pushing his creative boundaries. He was a creative genius in every sense of the phrase. So, what can we learn from Leonardo da Vinci's exceptionally creative nature? Leonardo da Vinci, quote-unquote, remained like a child his whole life. Even as an adult, he always had the curiosity and imagination many of us have as children, but slowly lose as we grow up. As we get older, most people lose the ability to be as open-minded and free as they were when they were kids. But even if you're now an adult and see yourself losing the creative spark you once had, it's never too late to promote creativity in your life. Don't be afraid to try new things, even things that make you uncomfortable. The comfort zone is the killer of creativity. You'll never fully reach your potential in anything in life without stepping outside of your comfort zone. But let's say you want to specifically promote a level of creativity that will lead you to becoming a creative genius like Leonardo da Vinci. How do you do that? Even though we can't guarantee anyone's success in their chosen creative field, since there are so many other factors at hand, such as connections, free time, and mental capacity, we can give you some advice on how to encourage your creative process and a heads up on the obstacles you may face on your journey. First, the creative process begins when we have a spark of imagination that gives us an idea of something that would be interesting to do. Whether it's an idea for a painting, song, business, or exercise routine, we usually get a sense of euphoria when we begin expanding on these ideas in our mind. However, for most people, this spark never manifests in reality, and the idea dies in our mind. Whether it's because we're too lazy to execute or nervous that the idea won't work, it's often the case that this excitement quickly wears off and reality sets in for us. This force, which has shattered the dreams of countless aspiring artists, is called resistance. Resistance is a repelling force that seeks to distract and prevent us from doing the work it takes to manifest these creative ideas into our life, and ultimately becoming a creative genius in our own regard. It will completely paralyze our dreams and ambition if we let it. So, how do you get rid of resistance so that you can embark on your road to becoming a creative genius like Da Vinci? The issue is, you can't. The thing is, self-doubt and resistance are a normal part of the creative process. Even as we make these YouTube videos, resistance almost always seems to creep up in our heads and make the task of scripting and editing the videos as hard as it can be. However, it's important to push through the self-doubt and laziness to even make the smallest effort towards accomplishing your goals for the day. Personally, we found that mentally breaking down each task into smaller parts really helps with productivity. So back to being a creative genius. How do you become one? In order to become a creative genius, you have to overcome this resistance and develop a deep obsession with your work. Studies have shown that natural talent can only go so far, and that the time and focus you put into your craft is what really separates the average to high-level athletes, businessmen, and creatives. So, what if you're struggling with creativity and overcoming resistance? How can you stimulate the process and develop that deep level of focus into your work? Here's a tip. Alternate between periods of intense focus and work and time for rest and relaxation, where your attention is removed from your work completely. This will allow all of the unconscious problems and solutions in your head to surface to your conscious mind during the times where there's less mental stress and quote-unquote noise going on in your head. Many creatives recall sudden moments of clarity happening when they're away from their work, which provided solutions to the problems and dissolved the resistance they were facing. Even though Leonardo da Vinci lived in a different time where there weren't all of these tech-fueled distractions surrounding him, he definitely still faced resistance as a normal part of his creative process. But again, if you want to achieve remarkable heights in whatever you do, whether it's sports, music, art, engineering, or medicine, you have to develop a system and process that works for you so that you can overcome the obstacles that life throws at you and hone in on your craft. You can try alternating between periods of hard work and relaxation, or maybe even pacing your schedule out to get work done in small increments, or whatever you find works for you. The nature of creativity is that it is so personal to the creator. So, it's important to develop your self-awareness while on your road to success, so that you can know what works and what doesn't work for you. And before we end this video, we want to leave you with a quote from Leonardo da Vinci himself. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.